Der Wienerschnitzel.
The Joymans.
You know it. You've probably never have it. There's urban legends that it's owned by the mafia. Der Wienerschnitzel.
Oh my God, you're right.
It all began with a man named John Gallardi, born March 4th, 1938 in Kansas City, Missouri. As a teen, his family moved out to California, where Gallardi went on to attend Pasadena Junior College. This is a very weird story. When one day he saw a man hosing down the parking lot of a Mexican restaurant near campus called Taco Tia. That's My Aunt the Taco.
I love that show, My Aunt the Taco.
So Gallardi went up to this man. Gallardi went up to this man and asked for a job. This man was Glenn Bell Jr., and his other restaurants of the same name, Taco Tia, would later change into a new sort of Mexican place that took the name of its owner, Taco Bell.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, but that's a story for another podcast as well.
So where did the bell come from?
Oh, you know the one in Philadelphia?
Oh, it didn't come from Bell Gardens?
No, he flipped over the one from Philadelphia and made a bunch of chili in it. That's not in Taco Bell. Does Taco Bell have chili? We've discussed that tacos are the Mexican equivalent of hot dogs.
Yeah, we have mentioned that, haven't we?
Tilt your head, it's handheld, a lot of sloppy stuff on it.
It is also symbolically like genitalia.
That's going to be edited out. Gallardi was making hot sauce at Taco Tia for 50 cents an hour, but he loved it for some reason, so he dropped out of college to work more at Taco Tia.
Can I interrupt you real quick? These are men's dreams. Isn't that weird? That if everything turns out right, I will be selling hot dogs to strangers.
I wish I had dropped out of college.
That's the only dream you have?
My dream is to drop out of college, even though I'm graduated. I'm going to enroll just to do it. So he was working now a lot at Taco Tia. Eventually, he worked his way up to manager, and then he bought a Taco Tia of his own. So when he was 23, he got an offer to buy a building in Wilmington to open up a restaurant, but the problem was it was next door to another one of Bell's taco places. Taco Bell, you might call it. Taco Bell's.
If you have the call to call it that.
So he talked to Bell. He Taco Bell about it. And,
he belled him.
And Bell said that he'd be fine with him opening up a place next door to one of his as long as he wasn't selling tacos. So Gallardi looked around at his competitors. McDonald's was selling hamburgers. Bell was selling tacos. That just leaves one other possible thing people could eat.
Slow roast steak. God damn it.
So nobody was really selling just hot dogs other than the places we were already talking about. So that was it. He'd go with hot dogs. But what about a name?
What would you even call this? Something like that? Hot dogs for sale?
Well, yeah, hot dogs for sale.
Tale of the hot dog? I don't know.
He didn't want to call it John's Hot Dogs. So he was at the Bell residence one day discussing it with his mentor when Bell's wife opened up a cookbook to get ideas, and she came across a recipe for an Austrian breaded cutlet dish called a Wienerschnitzel. Nothing to do with the hot dog. She said, why don't you call it der Wienerschnitzel? Gallardi said, that's stupid, and that's a stupid idea of yours. But a few days later, he was driving down the road and he realized that he must have passed by dozens of businesses, but he couldn't remember the name of a single one of them. So he started thinking, if a place had a name like Der Wienerschnitzel, someone passing by would see it and think, what the hell is that? And then maybe after 2 or 3 times of that, then you have that person's attention. So on July 3rd...
Sneak the idea in, you get in their subconscious. I like that. A little inception going on, you just plant the idea in there, the mystery. Get a hot dog.
That made less sense than Inception. So on July 3rd, Der Fun since 61, Der Wienerschnitzel opened up at 1362 Gulf Avenue along the PCH. The place was colored in red and yellow for ketchup and mustard, as most of its locations still are today. The original had a flat roof, but the signature of the future locations became the big A-frame buildings.
Is that Coogie?
No.
Okay.
That's just a letter. They had 3 kinds of hot dogs, chili, mustard, or kraut.
They love to throw that word around.
It was still a hot buzzword in 61. So he served chili because he learned from making hot sauce at Taco Tia's for all those years that people liked a sauce on their food. Apparently a song was made of that same title, chili, mustard, kraut, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh boy.
So we're going to have to record it. Hot dogs were 15 cents, chili dogs were 30 cents, drinks were 10 cents. People thought he was crazy for selling at such low prices. Gallardi, he wanted to sell French fries, but people told him nobody wants to eat French fries with a hot dog. So for a while he sold cups of baked beans with the hot dogs, and nobody was buying.
Oh no!
So
eat that with my hands? What are you, pig?
He tried fries anyway, and it was a big hit, of course.
Yeah, you stupid? You stupid or ugly?
He would fry onions outside of the restaurant to draw people in, which is a tactic still used today by the bacon-racked bacon-wrapped hot dog carts around town.
Bacon.
The company's logo was designed by Saul Bass.
I know that name.
And it sounds kind of familiar. He also did the logo for AT&T and Quaker Oats, in addition to a lot of movie work, such as designing the title sequences for movies like Psycho, North by Northwest, West Side Story, Goodfellas, Big, and many other movies that you've actually heard of. The first few locations even had a fire pit outside to hang out in front of. The problem was that there was too much hanging out going on. We don't want that.
Loitering. Arrest these men.
The original location had 3 parking spaces, but teenagers would start to congregate there in their car clubs where they'd get drunk and they'd fight each other. Yeah. And Gallardi said one time he went into the parking lot and found 100 drunk teenagers just lounging around. So to try to thin out the crowds and to get people out of the parking lot, he put a drive-through right through the middle of the building, and the sales went even higher.
Yeah.
And this was one of the first fast food places to use a drive-through.
Really?
So apparently Gallardi worked very hard. For years, all he had time to eat was 2 or 3 hot dogs a day, every day, 7 days a week.
The dream.
After 12 locations had opened up, Gallardi started franchising, and by 1968, there were 200 locations. He turned down a $20 million offer to sell the company. In the early 70s, the economy died, and Wienerschnitzel was hit hard, and they got themselves into $8.5 million in debt.
Boy.
But they managed to pretty much bounce back. In 1977, they dropped the der from their title, as it wasn't even a real German word, but they still continue to use it in their marketing for some reason.
I hear my informant uses that word all the time.
Old people say der Wienerschnitzel. Yeah, because they're dumb. They don't follow the trends in marketing. They're the world's largest hot dog chain with 322 locations in the U.S. and Guam, as I counted on their website, and they sell over 100 million hot dogs a year.
Wow.
They're mildly famous for their old commercials of a hot dog always running away from people trying to eat him, and the antenna toppers to represent his plight. The Gallardi Group, they also own Tasty Freeze.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sucking down chili dogs. As for Gallardi himself, he died in April 2013 of pancreatic cancer,
poor guy.
and he was secretive about his chili recipe to the very end.
Good for him.
On December 3rd, 2013, the LA City Council made the original Wienerschnitzel an historical cultural monument, becoming just the second active food stand in the city to receive this status. The first one, the Munch Box in Chatsworth.
Not the one that we passed. There's something on Devonshire, I think, going towards in Chatsworth that I'm like, oh, have you heard of this place? And you're like, yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, that is what I'm talking about.
That's the place?
Well, I've never been there, but I've seen pictures and their chili looks like, chili, so I'm scared.
Their chili looks like Texas Chili Massacre.